Oh, I have my drawing program in the background. We do not want that at all. No. I still have that open. Whoops. No worries, guys. No worries, guys. It's fine. It's fine. I just leave the programs open. This computer has enough RAM for that. I have like 30 something gigs of RAM on this computer. I can do what I fucking want. I can do a little bit what I want. Here, let me adjust my microphone real quick. There we go. Ah. Bottles are less exciting to open, but that's okay. I mean, I can do this. There we go. There we go. I don't know, man. Okay, give me one moment, guys. Give me one moment. Need to check something real quick. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. That's fine. There we go. There, now everything's up again. There we go. There we go. Ah, hello, Michael. Hello. Let's see here. We will get in there a little bit. But we're in, was this the start of Thursday? I think. Wait, was this the end of Wednesday or the start of Thursday? I don't really remember. It is Carl's route. I do not remember this route very well at all. But that's okay, that's okay. That's why we're here. We're rediscovering, right? Are you sure you don't want to come down? Carl lays spread out on his bed, game controller clutched in both of the paws. Wait, both of the paws that are thrown over his head against the pillow. He offers me a glance, but returns back to his game. This time, it's a new-looking open-world fantasy, and wait, new open-world fantasy, and okay, not finishing that with like RPG adventure game, something that just read a little weird to me. Honestly, I'd much rather be watching him play it than doing homework. I just don't want to distract you, man. And you know how much help I am. I frown. Well, it'd be more for the company than anything. Don't you want to look through the stuff too? Ah, Durian. Hello. Carl screws up. Wait, Carl screws up his muzzle as if contemplating. I've seen most of it, dude. I wrapped up half the stuff in there. Well, alright. I pause, but he doesn't say anything. It's clear he's not interested, so I have no reason to nag him. Well, did I? Nope, we disconnect, we reconnect, okay. As I make my way into the basement alone, I realize another reason why I would have appreciated Carl's company. 'Cause it's dark down here? 'Cause it's spooky? The house is as creepy as fuck. I've always been a bit of a pussy when it comes to scary things. I mean, once, after I'd seen a scary movie about possession, I'd been afraid to go to sleep for weeks, mainly because my nightmares can seem so real. It took almost a month for me to manage it without the lights on, and I was 18 at the time. What a loser. And now I mentally kick myself for remembering that movie while I'm down here in Carl's creepy basement, alone. Once I get to the crawl space, I do an awkward half run to the flood lamp. That probably would have made Carl laugh his ass off. Ah, there we go. The crawl space really is creepy as fuck. I imagine Carl sleepwalking down here, which I'm pretty sure is what happened last night, then waking up alone in the dark. I can understand why he was so freaked out. The sight of the plastic tarp at the bottom of the steps brings back memories of the tarantula as well. Shit. And now I have good reason not to go there at all. I still don't know if what I saw was real or was some kind of hypnagogic nailed it. Hallucination that my mind always seems so keen to throw at me. I scan the tarp. It's white and clean surface, free of any insects as far as I can tell. I shudder again before making my way slowly down the steps, eyes still darting around. Come on, you idiot. This is ridiculous. When I was younger, I used to have a problem where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see spiders crawling up my wall. I'd scream, and one of my parents would come running in to tell me nothing was there. My dad talked to his psychologist friend, who told him it was normal, so we didn't do anything about it. Your child screaming at nothing? That's very normal. That's very normal. Over time, the hallucinations stopped. They didn't come back until I took the night shift near my university's campus. After that, I started to get sleep paralysis, and about half the time, spiders are involved. My feet crunch their way across the tarp, back toward the tubs that I know are marked history. I stare at them for a second, remembering that 2 days ago, the tub had been turned to have their sides facing the entrance of the crawl space. I clearly remember seeing them that way over Carl's shoulder right before I saw the tarantula. And now they're turned so that their ends are pointing to the front. I frown, but the prickling feeling on my neck doesn't feel good, especially with me being alone down here. So I shove that to the back of my mind and grab the end of the bottom tub so I can start dragging it back toward the stairs. Sitting down and taking the lid off, I start shifting through the contents. Again, something isn't right. There are a few empty wrappers lying around among the artifacts, so if someone had unwrapped a few trinkets before taking them. I wonder if Carl decided to take a few things. God knows why he would. I remove the wrappers, 3 in all, and set them to the side before digging further in. This particular tub has a divider in it. As I start unwrapping things, I realize that one side is for the harder artifacts, like keys and knitting needles. Ah, I see. The other has mostly paper items, like photos and documents. On the paper side, I see a thick folder labeled Biography of James Hendricks. My eyes widen. Now that would come in handy. Is this a book or As I open it up, I find a bunch of loose papers inside. Well, it's clearly copy paper. It's old enough in its own right. I move back down to the tarp so I can start spreading the documents out, not wanting to lose anything. I'm breathing heavily at this point, hardly believing my luck. There are hundreds of pages, and I hardly know where to start. After a while, I begin to deduce what this is. Someone's been trying to write a book on James Hendricks. From what I can tell, it was Carl's mother, Tricia. Some of the documents were typed out on a typewriter, so this might have started as far back as the 80s. Getting married, having kids, and running a company probably slowed things down just a little bit. I grin. While it's too bad that this might never see publication, Carl's mom has no idea how much she's saved my ass. And hey, if it's not published, do we have to credit? On top of that, she's got all of it organized. One divider indicates James Hendricks, while another marks Emma Hendricks, who I assume is James's wife. A few of them are filled with several names: Marilyn Smith, John Begay, Yanaha Begay, Christopher Leeway. Okay. Finally, the last section of the binder is filled with dividers indicating dates. All of these numbers that I'm not going to read. Yes. I start with that, my fingers shaking a bit with excitement as I start poring over Trish's meticulous timeline, using my phone to take notes. James was born in 1825 to an immigrant family from Ayr. His family faced opposition. Oppressive opposition. What am I fucking reading? Oppressive prejudice from the day they arrived in the country. Despite this, they managed to make a living with James's father becoming a plumber, a profession that mainly dealt with lead. His father, Martin, was abusive, even more so than was acceptable for the time, and James suffered greatly for it. The mystery death of his 5-year-old sister, Martha, led many of the townspeople to suspect murder on the father's part. But this was never proven. James left home at the age of 15. He told his remaining sibling, Jane, that if he were able, he'd find a place for both of them to stay to escape their father. Not much is known about James Hendricks between 1840 and 1849, with Tricia assuming that he simply job-hopped around the tri-state area. What is known is that James set out west in 1850 during the gold rush. Luck struck quick, with James finding gold in the quartz deposits in 1852. The first person James confided in about the find was his only friend, John Begay. John was a native desert fox and would go on to become James's business partner. This comes as a bit of a surprise to John's many recorded instances of prejudice against the natives. With John's help, James officially laid claim to the mine before turning it into a business. While Echo was originally a small camp of less than 20 people, it became a mini boomtown. Over 2,000 people arrived within the next 3 years. Things went well for James after that. He became rich, built in a mansion in Echo, and lived off the mine's seemingly endless flow of gold. He sent Jane, who was married with a large family at that point, a yearly sum of money. Meanwhile, no money was sent to his parents, who were living in deep poverty. He married Emma, a girl half his age, in 1860. They had 5 kids: James, Thomas, Genevieve. Genevieve? I don't fucking Genevieve. How was this pronounced? I don't know. Carol and Martha. Things changed for James in 1875, though, when he was accused of sodomy with James Begay. James Begay? John Begay. John Begay. We know James Begay, but you know. The land being lawful at the time, John Begay was hanged by the locals. James was never convicted of the crime, likely because of his strong influence in the town. However, sorry, the wait, ostracism is that word, grew to be too much, and in 1878, he left his family to live in solitude on the West Coast. He quietly started a moderately successful ice cream business in the 1880s. It didn't grow into the regional juggernaut it is today until it was taken over by his grandson, Peter. He died there in the villa in 1891 from an unusual insect bite. I rub my eyes and check the time. 3 hours have passed already, and it's late in the afternoon. Apparently, Carl's game is so good he hasn't even bothered to come down and check on me. Excuse me. I sigh and gather up a few of the items: a pocket watch, what looks like a nugget of gold, and what I think is a stamp with a crest on it. Bleh. Look, shut up, Darian. I have to be firm with the words that start with Q, you know. I gotta be firm about it. It is what it is. I'll need to take the pictures outside considering how dim it is in here. I lay the items down on the adobe sidewalk that leads up to Carl's house. Deciding that will make a suitable background, I start taking pictures. Hours after the discovery of the binder, I'm still relieved. I was really starting to worry how little time I had left, but Trissa's research has saved me hours of time. In fact, she'd pretty much laid everything out for me. I nearly jump out of my skin and spin around, still clutching my camera. Behind me, I can see the window still rattling from the force of whatever had knocked on it. It's a basement window in a window well, yes, though I can't see anything through it. It's too dark. I stare for a while, frowning. What the fuck was Carl doing? Did he go back downstairs and somehow see me through the window and decide to scare me? I slowly gather the artifacts back up and place them in my bag, keeping an eye on the window as I do. If he wanted to pull that shit, then I could play at that game too. The only problem is that Carl isn't in the basement. From what I can gather, it was the window next to the crawl space that was hit. Looking out, I can see that spot where I must have been standing. The chills return, and I shiver as I move back to the crawl space. It had been what? It had to have been Carl, though. I don't get why he wouldn't have stayed down here until I got back. I gather everything back up and start to place them back into the tub in the same order I had taken them out. And that's when I noticed something. At the very bottom of the tub, a plastic baggie had been opened with its contents spilled out. I set down the binder, which I had been about to put away, and reach in. Sifting through the spilled papers. There's newspaper clippings from the town of Peyton. They're incredibly old, and I can't imagine this is the best way to preserve them. Either way, the fashion in which they're carelessly spread out across the bottom of the tub makes me wince. I don't remember leaving it this way, and it makes me feel sick that I could have damaged any of it. Slowly, I push all of the clippings back into the baggie, making sure to seal it tight after I do. From what I can see, nothing's been visibly damaged. I sigh before putting everything back into the tub and shutting it with a lid. with the lid, making sure it's sealed tight. It's a shame that it's been so difficult for Carl's family to set up the museum. From the looks of it, some of this stuff isn't going to last much longer without proper preservation. Finally, I drag the tub back and subconsciously take note of exactly how I left them before heading back upstairs. I see he's concerned. When I get upstairs, though, Carl is asleep. His controller is still above his head, clutched in his paws, as if he'd fallen asleep the moment I'd left. On the screen, his character is immobile, standing in the middle of the hut. A single NPC standing in front of him, walking back and forth. Every now and then, it stops in front of him, exclaiming, "What are you doing in my hut?" I reach out and place a paw on his shoulder, and he immediately opens his eyes, snorting loudly. He sits up and rubs at his face, snorting again as he breathes deeply. "Did you go downstairs?"
What happened?"
It's almost funny how utterly confused he looks. If he's acting, he's doing a damn good job of it. "I heard some noises downstairs. I thought it was you."
No, I don't think so."
Things were moved around, too. He takes in a deep breath before blowing it out.
"I told you, man. This place is haunted. I wasn't joking."
We both look at each other for a moment. Finally, Carl breaks the awkward silence.
So how'd it go, anyway? Aside from the ghosts.
It went alright. Just 3 hours and a bunch of research. He looks at me blurrily.
Aw, shit. Seriously? I was gonna come down after a while. I just...
Fell asleep? Yeah. Anyway, we were supposed to go out today.
Really?
Yeah, remember? You said a few days ago. Carl looks around.
Well, what do you want to do?
I think. Don't you have an interview tomorrow?
Don't remind me.
Carl picks up his controller again, and I frown. Well, I was thinking we could go out and maybe give you a new look. And now Carl frowns, clicking away at the controller.
Like what?
Well, your clothes, for one. Do you have any dress clothes? You don't. Seriously? Have you ever done an interview before?
Well, yeah. It's just that I've, grown out of them.
Uh-huh. Well, we'll definitely need to get you some of those. I look at his beard, thoughtfully. Kopika, hello. Maybe we should give you a more clean cut look. Chunter getting progress done on his big project. Look, he gets more progress done in, like, this route than he does in either, like, Jenna or TJ's route. You know, that's something that Carl route, like, Chase, like, has going for him. Carl doesn't say anything and instead goes on frowning. I put a paw down on his controller, forcing him to pause. Come on, it could be fun. You can't stay in this house, in this room, forever. He finally does look at me, then his expression kind of sad. His expression kind of sad, wait. Yes, then his expression kind of sad. Yes, that is what that says. What's wrong? Carl looks away, then stands up slowly, his joints popping.
Nothing. If it makes you happy, then why not?
Great.
Just so you know, I'd rather just play some video games with you.
It's tempting. Just watching Carl play is a lot of fun, what with his style and commentary, but this is more important. I really want to help him out. Maybe later tonight. Let's get this done first. So apparently your great-great-great-great-grandfather was accused of sodomy.
What?
Carl looks up from his phone, his muzzle wrinkling. Yup, with John Begay, who I'm almost positive is related to Jenna, but I'll have to ask her.
Are you serious? How did you find that out?
He pauses.
And maybe don't ask Jenna about that.
From what I can tell, your mom's trying to write a book. Carl strokes his beard.
Oh yeah, she is, isn't she? Well, was. More like it. I don't think she's worked on it in years.
From the looks of it, she started it in college.
Damn, well, I do remember her saying it stressed her out a lot, or that something happened to make her stop.
Carl seems to be thinking.
Actually, I think I remember her talking to my dad about how those old things freaked her out, or something.
He shrugs.
But we've always said the house is haunted.
Carl's phone starts buzzing.
And speaking of Jenna, she's calling me.
Carl looks a bit perturbed, but he puts a cheerful voice as he answers it.
Yo, whale ears!
Ah, that old name. As he listens to her response, I see his smile slowly slide off his face. I can hear the sharp, muffled tones of Jenna's voice, even though he's holding the phone on the other side of his face.
I don't.
I guess she cut him off because he didn't finish. I glare. Here, let me talk to her. The way Jenna acted yesterday, which isn't like her at all, is giving me a pretty good idea of what she's going off about right now. Carl doesn't give me the phone, though. Instead, just stares out the windshield as we continue on the highway. Finally, he lower the phone from his ear? Okay. And then stares at the screen for a while. She hang up?
Yeah. Said something about how Leo's depressed now and how us hanging out by ourselves isn't helping things.
I roll my eyes. You know what? Fuck Jenna. She's been on one since Leo's day didn't go the way he wanted it to. For some reason, she just wants to blame you.
Yeah.
I mean, better she shit on Carl than shit on Leo. Am I right, guys? And Carl looks out the window, so I can't really gauge the mood he's in. Listen, let's get something to eat first. I'll buy.
No, my parents are rich. I'll pay.
I can't exactly argue with that, so I don't. I also don't feel like I can leave it at that, so hesitantly, I reach out with a paw and place it on Carl's shoulder. What? What, Michael? What? It's true. What are you gonna say, that you care more about Carl than Leo? No one cares about Carl. Come on. Seriously, let's have fun today, okay? Forget Jenna. He looks over at me and gives me a sad smile.
I'm fine, Chase. I just want to get this over with so we can get back to playing games.
I sigh. Is that all you think about these days?
Hey, lots of people play games for a living.
Name one.
Rob Lowe.
That's a sport.
It's still a game.
I grin as I hear that jokey playfulness back in his voice, glad I'm able to take his mind off of Jenna for the moment. Well, at least that keeps them active. Playing games all day will get you unhealthy. Don't say it out loud. Maybe the one Carl fan will know. Oh, amazing.
Fat. If you didn't notice, I'm already there.
You're not that bad. I swear you're mostly muscle.
Then I guess I've got nothing to worry about.
But you should get out more.
Why? I've got entire worlds in my game.
I don't know. What about girls?
They're in games too.
Yeah, we can boot up Katawa Shoujo next, right? Yeah. Well, you can't exactly touch a boob with your actual paws in the game. Just you wait. VR or AR will get real good one day. And, then anything will be possible.
I don't know. I swear they've got those in anime land.
You know what I mean.
Already done it. Not that great.
You a queer or something? I say it with a southern accent.
Let's just say I don't label my sexuality.
I let that sit for a second. And that's a pretty queer thing to say.
Guess I'm a pretty queer dude then.
Is that so?
Besides, until I'm able to see my who's again, I don't think any girls are gonna be after me.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. Trying to give you a new look, a fresh start. It'll boost your confidence and your appeal. You'll have girls and boys after you. Again, Carl doesn't act very enthused about that. I tell myself it's only because he has to go out. Once we get there, I'm sure he'll cheer up. I swear, every store in the Peyton Mall is dark and covered in neon. Carl stands there awkwardly, looking around as if unsure about what to do. Oh, that's a soundtrack. I'm gonna lower the volume just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. So what kind of look do you want to go for? Carl looks at me like I'm crazy.
Seriously, dude, I have no idea. You brought me here.
I just work with this for the next hour, and I promise we can go to the game store next. Carl makes a big show of sighing, and I assume the twitch in his ears indicate he'd like that a lot.
Well, it's just dress clothes, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Carl's getting all insecure the way he did during the surprise birthday party. It's kind of cute.
Carl? Carl!
The voice comes from behind me, and Carl smiles over my shoulder before I turn around. Oh, well, Darian, then you should meet expectations. Meet the high bar. You're not getting a gold star for participating from me. Raven? The black and white two-tone husky is just a few feet behind me and grinning.
How long has it been?
But it's so high. Well, reach there then. You're tall, you can reach.
Too long, man. What are you doing here?
Family moved back after Dad got fired, and now I work here. I could ask the same about you, Chase. Oh, just on spring break right now. You work in a clothing store now? Raven laughs.
No, I'm a store down. I work at Game Central.
And Carl perks up at that.
So, you're still in school, huh? Well, it's great to see you.
Raven's accent is only slightly detectable now. The only noticeable foreign thing about him being his name.
So, what are you guys doing here? Getting clothes?
Yeah, for Carl, actually. He has an interview tomorrow. For some reason, Carl ducks his head at that, and through his ears, I can see him blush deeply.
Oh, really? It's about time. I mean, I have had a job before.
So what kind of look are you going for? When Carl doesn't answer, I speak up. That's what we were trying to figure out just now, actually. Carl shrinks further into himself, his hat seeming to fall further over his ears.
Dude, it's just dress clothes, really.
Well, I think we should get a red tie at least. Might go with your eyes, and maybe trim that beard.
Since when are you a fashionista?
Come on, Carl. Let's at least try it out. Carl sighs, rubbing his forehead.
Okay, fine. But only as long as we're out of here in the next hour.
Hey, I gotta get back to work, but I'll be free in about an hour. Let's catch up. I wave at Raven, then turn to Carl. Well, that was nice. I didn't think I'd ever see him again.
Me either. Actually, I'll have to hang out with him more. I mean, I like Flynn, but having to put up with him just to get a ride to the store isn't always worth it.
Do we know what happens to Raven in the epilogue of this route? Does he just disappears, doesn't he? We at least we get to know like Daxton and can assume what happens to him. And like we know what happens to Kudzu. And like Micah gets a legitimate ending thingy. I assume that Janice murders what's-his-face in TJ's route, but I don't remember what happens to Raven. I really don't. Well, anyway, if you're wanting to get out of here in an hour, then we should probably get started. The process is a lot less painful than Carl makes it out to be. Soon enough, we're on our way to the food court, Carl carrying a bag way too big for the contents inside. They just mentioned that they're still friends. Amazing. Amazing. We meet Raven again, and once we get our food, he suggests we eat outside. I look for my full combo meal in Carl's small, tiny container of tater tots. You not hungry? Carl just shrugs and grins at me.
You just don't know the ways of the fatty.
Huh.
We're judged all the time, especially when we're eating.
He delicately bites a tater tot in half before adopting a sarcastic tone.
Ew, gross! Of course he's eating!
And that seems kind of unfair.
See, Raven thinks so too.
The husky is in the middle of a huge bite of his Subway sandwich, his eyes on Carl. He swallows before speaking. I can see that you're self-deprecating as ever.
You know me.
So, Chase, are you still dating that wolf, Leon? Leo, and, no. I ignore the sidelong glance I get from Carl. Aw, sorry about that. You two were real cute together. Right. It's like you should never have broken up. You're a cute couple, you know? Just like, it's good. It's hard to know what to say when people comment on your relationship. If someone isn't homophobic, gay relations are usually cute or adorable. Or maybe it was just a size difference. But seriously, I've always wanted to date an otter. Oh, really? Yeah, they're adorable. Swimming clowns. Do tell. Raven picks up on the sarcastic tone right away, but it doesn't seem to faze him. Well, yeah. You know what they say about otters and blowjobs. Carl almost chokes on his last tater tot.
Oh, the hell, Raven? You barely know him, you're saying that shit.
Carl's laughing, though. I'm sure to keep my face passive. Oh, what do they say about otters and blowjobs? Raven laughs. You know, they never have to come up for air. 10 minutes, non-stop. Raven giggles, then makes a visible effort to keep a straight face. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. It's just one of these jokes I always hear. You can imagine, I do. I do too. And it's 8 minutes, by the way. Oof, I'd take that too. Carl crumples up a straw wrapper and flicks it off Raven's bluish-looking nose, to which he simply smiles. Carl stands up.
Hey, I'm going to the bathroom. Raven, don't be a dick.
I'm not. We both watch Carl amble off before Raven turns back to me, that dopey smile back on his face. So, how long are you gonna be here, Chase? We need to catch up. I wonder what catching up means when our biggest interaction, up until this point, was dissecting a shark in high school biology. Sunday. School starts back up on Monday. Despite having a head start on the project thanks to Carl's mom, I still get a nervous twinge in my stomach. 8 minutes, aka 2 rounds. Terrible. Raven doesn't know how much cute Chase and Brian together. Go, oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know. I don't know. Give Raven an Australian accent? I don't accents. I don't understand them. I barely hear them. They're just words. They're just sounds. I don't know, man. I still have a lot left to do. Voiceover, B-roll, and oh god, the editing. We should hang out. His adorable excitement is barely contained. And I'm pretty sure I can hear the thumping of his tail against the curbs we're sitting on. Despite my earlier offense at his stereotyping of otters, I'm reminded at how much worse dogs get it. They're not common in Echo, or this side of the world for that matter. While otters are thought of as entertainers, I feel like it's better than dealing with being seen as a simpleton. So the main reason I'm here is to do a new segment on Echo, for class. Oh! Is it gonna be on TV? I laugh. No, I mean, maybe I could get it into rotation on the college TV station, but otherwise no. Well, that's still pretty cool. But my point is that it's kind of boring. What? Is it just a bunch of writing, or...? I'm mostly going through old stuff. Carl's family saved a bunch of artifacts from the old days. Whoa, so you're, like, actually touching the old stuff? Yeah, that's kind of a weird way of putting it, but yeah. That sounds awesome! His outgoing nature is kind of infectious. I smile. Well, if you're really interested, I wouldn't mind having some help. That's great. I have the next 2 days off. Cool. Well, we'll ask Carl when he gets back. Not if. If he comes back from the bathroom, maybe he'll just die in there. It takes a while for the ram to return, but when he does, he seems a bit reluctant to agree to the idea. But eventually we convince him, and we make plans for Raven to come over the next day. As we're headed back out to the car, I nudge Carl, forcing him into a slight stumble. What's up?
What do you mean?
I try to keep my tone light. You seem a bit down, actually. You have all day. Carl shrugs. I nudge him again and he giggles.
Oh, I don't know. It's just awkward coming out here and having you two just examine me like that.
Oh, yeah? Esto? Okay.
Yeah, dude. It just feels kind of weird is all.
I stay silent for a moment, wondering if I'd made the right decision in doing all this. Oh, here, I should probably turn up the game audio just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's a cute song, you know, copyright claim, let's go. Well, it's just trying to help you out, you know.
Oh, I know, bro. It's cool.
Seriously, I've been thinking.
Oh, no.
Your main problem is worrying about going out in public, like a social anxiety.
Whoa, now you're sounding like Jenna.
We get to my car and he smiles at me over the roof while I unlock the doors. I feel like if we can break through that, it'll help you out a bunch. I break eye contact as we both slide into our respective seats. And I think this job will be a huge part of that, so I really want you to get it. As I lean to the side to pull out my seatbelt, I feel something soft and warm pressed to my cheek. It only lasts for a second, then it's gone. I look over at Carl, but he's looking out the window. Did you just kiss me?
Yeah, bro.
Are you high?
No, I mean, maybe.
He giggles. So yes. Slowly, I pull out of the parking space. If he hadn't made a move on me last night, I might have been a little more shocked. Where the hell did you get that high, anyway?
Alley behind the mall.
Charming.
Yeah, pretty sure I've got a few needles stuck in my hooves.
We drive in silence for a while, Carl looking out at the desert scenery while I squint out the windshield, trying to see through the hazy orange sunset.
Oh, I did mean that, by the way.
What?
Just thanks.
Sure. I don't know what else to say, so I leave it at that, and we drive along in pleasant silence. Carl still seems a little sad, and I can't pinpoint why. I'm hoping that it's just a phase. That by the time this interview is over, he'll be able to get past his anxiety and finally be done feeling like a failure at everything. Classic kissing your bros when you're high. Is that a thing? Is that normal? Is that a thing that the bros do? How are we doing? What are we doing? We're doing video game. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Weird. Alright. I wake up to the feeling of a familiar, numbing heaviness in my body. I try to move, tugging at what feels like a massive weight on my arms and legs, but all I can manage is to wiggle my fingers. It feels like someone pressing down on my chest, trying to suffocate me. And something in the room with me. I can't help myself. I open my eyes. Ah, good. We're in the good background. A blood-red glow fills Carl's room, as if from a night light covered in blood. The sight would have made me whimper if I was able to make any kind of sound. My eyes flick around the room. It looks strangely empty, a lot more empty than I remember it, as if Carl is in the middle of a move and he'd packed up all of his toys and decorations. In fact, the only thing I recognize in the room is his bed and blanket tossed back and empty. I'm alone. Yeah, okay. I hear a chuckle right next to my ear, and it's straight out of a horror movie. Whatever it is, it's right out of my line of sight, and I can't turn my head to see what it is. My heartbeat picks up, and I decide to close my eyes, knowing that nothing good will come out of opening them. It breathes heavily in my ear for a while, then stops. Then weight lifts off my body, and I feel its presence leave. Oh, okay. I sit up, open my eyes again, and sigh with relief. But then I realize the room is still empty, and so is Carl's bed. Die. Okay. Oh, that's allowed in the levels. Here, let me immediately turn that down a lot. There we go. There we go, guys. Imagine just hearing, like, die, fool. Like, something yanks me out of the bed, and suddenly I'm being pulled by both feet down the hallway. Down the stairs. Down the basement. Towards the crawl space. Into darkness. Furry legs crawl over my body and pinpricks pierce every inch of my flesh. I'd give anything to be able to scream right now. There we go. Okay. I gasp and jolt out of the paralysis. I wait a good 10 seconds before I'm convinced that I'm really out of it. Carl snoring loudly in his bed, one arm dangling over the side where his belly rises and falls. I sit up and rub my face, wondering how the hell I'm gonna get back to sleep after that. There. Friday. Wow, Thursday's kind of short. Oh well. Ah, Raven. Yes. Oh. I never know how to feel about Raven. Like, on one hand, he does have kind of like a cute personality. But like his I don't know, his design has like a lot to be desired, I guess. Hey, is that useful? I look over at Raven as he holds up what looks like a porcelain canine doll of some kind. Maybe. Again, just set aside the stuff you think might be interesting enough for me to take pictures of. Okay. Wasn't he a Zona of someone? Yeah. All of the side characters were. I miss his drooping eye. Oh my god. Just imagine you're looking at Benny Boy here. Yeah, you know. Also, hello, Ian. It do be that way. It do be that way. I wasn't reading consistently when but he was one of the Patreon supporters, I think, and he's someone, so all right. Oh, hello, nice. He puts it to the side and starts digging through the tub, rather carelessly again. I sigh and turn back to the binder. I really wish Carl had agreed to come down. Again, he declined to help me, even after Raven arrived. But now I guess I have my answer as to why. More stuff is missing from the tubs, and I know it can't be anyone else except Carl. The containers were turned the opposite way when I got down to the crawl space early this morning. On top of that, there were 2 more loose wrappers in the tub, along with I trace a paw up the torn edges of a missing page in the John Begay section. The question, of course, is why he would be doing this. There's absolutely no reason for it. And the bizarreness of the situation makes it pretty much impossible for me to confront him on it. It's his house, after all, though if he didn't want me going through it, why would he have shown it to me in the first place? And he isn't even trying to cover his tracks. In fact, I practically caught him in the act just a few nights ago. He must know now that I'd be able to put that together pretty quick. I close the binder, deciding that this will be the last time I'll be going through this stuff. Oh, hello, Cirrus. If Carl doesn't want me digging up info on his family's history, then I'm not going to pry any further. Hey, look at this! Raven holds up a wooden train. Bet this was probably the shit back in the day. It still is the shit. Toy trains are radical. I sigh. Probably. My phone buzzes. I take it out, my notification's telling me I have a text from Leo.
Meet me at diner for lunch. Just you.
Just me? Oh. For a moment, I feel a pang of guilt. He'd told me how excited he was to hang out with me this week, yet I've spent all of my time here with Carl. Though, from what I've gathered in texts, Leo's been spending most of his time with TJ and Jenna since the Lynx is apparently still feeling down. Well, at least they're hanging out together. Oh, I don't like Raven's hair. Oh. At least he had that to keep him occupied. My excuse that Carl has all the info I need for my project made my decision to spend most of my time here a little less weird. Oh? What time? And what do you mean by just me? Hey, Rave, I'm gonna go out to meet with some friends. Could you keep Carl company?
Okay, sure.
You're good enough friends to just call him Rave? Like, okay. Raven seems busy pushing the train across the ground while attaching more cars. Yeah, see? This shit. This shit right here makes me go like, Raven's alright. And make sure you keep that together. I want to get a picture of it later. He's dressed for a rave? You know, you right.
Now, I need to talk in private-o.
Okay. He's got that scene look. Oh my god, you're right though. With his head fur, yeah. I sigh and put my phone away, patting my pocket for my keys as I head up the crawlspace steps. Leo waves at me as I walk into the diner. I'm surprised to see that the diner is completely empty. There's almost always someone in here. Something else is amiss too, and I don't notice it until I've sat down across from the wolf. It's eerily quiet. The usual rockabilly tracks aren't playing from the jukebox.
Hey.
Hey man, what's up? Well, he's got his, like, stern look. Don't look at me like that. You're supposed to be smiling. The atmosphere is unreasonably awkward, and I blame most of that on the strange state of the diner.
So apparently we have to go up to the counter to order. Janice isn't here.
Oh, why's that? Leo shrugs as he sips on a milkshake.
Dunno. Sick, I guess.
It's then that that I remember the story Flynn told us about Janice and her incident. Though I'm not gonna bring that up because I'm sure that's what Leo's thinking as well. Well, I'm not really hungry anyway. What was it you wanted to talk about? Leo swallows slowly, then looks down at the table.
So you probably know this whole thing didn't go as I'd planned.
I look at the collection of condensation on his glass before I speak up. Yeah, sort of. Leo frowns as if he'd hoped I would have tried to deny it.
Well, it's mostly my fault. I should have done a better job at resolving shit.
Now I frown. Hey. I wait until he takes his eyes off the table to look at me. You know, you're not our big brother anymore. He looks back down at the table. We're adults, believe it or not. We make our own decisions now. What are you talking about? The birthday party went great. It went great. It went great. Yeah, we had some cake. Everything we're doing right now is our decision, our fault, not yours. Leo's eyes get shiny, but he smiles. There, he's smiling now.
Yeah, you're right. Guess I just wanted to go back is all.
Hey, we're still young. You're talking like my grandpa. Leo laughs and leans back.
Mine too.
Leo jerks his head as if he just remembered something.
So, what the hell happened between Jenna and Carl?
I was actually hoping you could tell me that you could have told me that. I have no idea.
She keeps going on about him not participating. I told her it was fine, but she can't seem to let it go.
Yeah, well, it's really weighing on Carl, I think. Leo swigs his milkshake, foregoing the straw. He wipes away the cream from his muzzle as he brings it down onto the table with some resolve. Do you all like milkshakes? I don't dislike milkshakes, but I also never order them. It's probably been years since I've had one. He wipes, he did do the thing.
Well, I'm not letting it end like this.
Huh? Let what end like this?
Our group! You realize this might be the last time we're all together.
That sentence immediately forms a lump in my throat. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna let it end like this. Flynn pissed at TJ, Jenna pissed at Carl, you and me.
He lets that hang in. When I don't say anything, he coughs.
So, I planned something.
Oh, that's always a good idea. What? His hesitant tone is making me nervous. He looks me in the eye and squares his shoulders.
We're going to the lake tomorrow.
He lets that sink in as I turn his words over in my head. Leo is the best planner? Don't lie to me. I mean, he's a cute planner, but he's not a great planner, you know? He had suspected that this is what he was getting at. I consider my words for a moment, not wanting to say the wrong thing. I don't know if that's... Leo puts up a paw.
I've thought this over real hard, Chase. That day, what happened to Sydney, it fucked us all up. Changed us all. Not for the better, either. It took something from us.
Leo pauses, looking to the side as if searching for words.
Flynn, Sydney, Sydney was his best friend. And Carl, he's been depressed ever since.
I feel the need to speak up. I don't know if you can pin that all on what happened. Maybe we would have turned out the same. He presses on.
TJ, he saw Sydney die, saw him drown. Can you imagine that an 8-year-old?
Wait, can you imagine that at 8 years old? Okay, yes.
And Jenna, has she ever been happy since?
I shake my head. I always felt like that experience helped her in a weird way. She decided to go to school, leave Echo. He doesn't seem to be listening to me.
And you, I love you, but you did change the day it happened. You're practically a different person.
I don't have anything to say to that.
And me, I...
His voice catches in his throat, and I close my eyes. Leo.
I was supposed to be watching all of you. I was supposed to take care of...
Leo stops talking, and I keep my eyes on the table while he grabs one of the brown napkins and wipes his eyes. When he speaks again, his voice is thick and cracks with emotion.
His parents never said, but they trusted me with Sydney, and I think they blame me.
No, Leo. He falls silent. For a while, we both sit there and share the feeling of being weighed down by 11 years of baggage. A good 5 minutes go by, Leo staring out the window. The afternoon sun turns his normally red fur almost orange.
We can't do this anymore, and this might be our last chance to find some kind of closure.
I take a deep breath, swallowing past the lump. Okay. He looks up at me, relief all over his face.
So, you'll go?
I smile reassuringly at him. Of course. Have you told anyone else? He lowers his ears.
No.
Oh, God. Are you going to tell them?
I don't know.
Leo! He does his signature shrug, paws out.
I really don't know how else to get them to go.
Then there's no way this isn't going to be a disaster.
Hey, we gotta try.
I guess.
So, can you bring Carl with you?
I think for a moment. Oh shit, Carl has an interview.
What time?
10, I think.
Well, we'll plan around it. Text me the actual time, okay? Anyway, I invited you out here to talk about more than shitty stuff. What have you been up to the past 3 years?
And so we talk for the next 2 hours, catching up on everything. Oh, what a nice little thing. We just hang out with the boy. Just chat. How casual, how nice. It feels good, and I regret not spending more time with Leo this past week. As we part in the small parking lot, Leo surprises me with a hug.
I have a good feeling about this. It'll be hard, but we'll be better for it.
I hug back, hoping with all my heart that he's right. That's abrupt. That's abrupt. What, Friday was like 15 minutes. What? I forgot. I didn't remember it being that short. Eh? Oh well. Oh well. Here, let me adjust the audio real quick. We'll turn up the game volume just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Dude, I don't know about this.
I peek into the bathroom, watching as Carl stares at himself in the mirror, running his fingers through his hair. You look great! Raven stands back, grinning with a trimmer in his paws, looking Carl up and down. Tell him, Chase! Carl looks at me, and I have to agree that he looks quite a bit better. You look fantastic, a lot cleaner.
Thanks.
Now take a shower. Before Carl can say anything, Raven shoves the mall bag into Carl's chest before slamming the door in his face. Man, this is gonna be great! If the interview was based on looks alone, he'd have that job locked. He'd have that job locked, or he'd get that job. Okay, I mean, I guess either works, but okay. Yeah, probably. And so with that, we move to the living room and wait. A half an hour later, Carl shuffles in quietly. We don't even know he's there until he clears his throat.
So, how does it look?
He looks good, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he looks more insecure than I've ever seen him. He shifts from hoof to hoof, not making eye contact at all. His finger is pulling at the rolled up sleeves. Oh my god! That looks fantastic! There's no way you won't get that job now! Raven sounds genuine enough, but then again, he's always excited. Carl looks over at me, and I give a start, realizing how bad my silence must have seemed. You do look great, Carl. But, Raven chuckles, and Carl's eyes widen.
What?
The beanie. Do you always wear that thing? Carl lifts a paw to it.
Usually.
You can't wear that. How do you even get it on?
It's stretchy, and my head fur looks awful.
Is that the same dialogue from Daxton? Huh. Seriously, you can't wear a beanie to an interview. Carl's getting all fidgety again, so I butt in. Yeah. Don't wear it. Gotta be professional, Carl. Carl, that's a really bad idea for a job interview.
Oh, come on!
He looks sad and angry at the same time, which gives me pause.
I'll wear it if I want. This is my interview.
After a couple seconds of silence, Raven coughs. Raven looks at me, then back to Carl. Well, alright. Carl sighs and shifts around again. We watch him expectantly.
Dude, this feels weird as all.
It's new. You'll get used to it. I pull out my phone and look at the time. Alright, we really need to head out. We should get there early. We head out the door. Raven makes as if to follow us. I kick myself for forgetting to talk to him earlier. I turn around to face him as Carl heads out the door. Hey, Raven. He stops. What's up? So, after the interview, me and Carl and our other friends, we're gonna be doing something. Raven raises his brow. Oh? Oh, it's not that we don't want you to come. Though I really wouldn't mind having his upbeat attitude present at what will surely be the biggest downer of the week. It's just that it's really personal stuff. Oh, really? Yeah, seriously, you wouldn't want to come. We're gonna be talking about some heavy shit. Raven seems to perk up a bit at that. Oh, well, I wouldn't want to intrude. I'll just hang out here then. Yeah, we'll be back soon, okay? They are not gonna be back soon. This is what they say it takes like what, half an hour to get to Peyton? So that's like a 1 hour round trip. There's the interview. Who knows how long an interview is gonna take, right? You never know. And then there's the meeting of them all, the friends, right? Will they just expect Raven to sit in this house for what, 3-4 hours? He's not even really like close friends with Carl. Like, that's weird, right? That's weird, right? Like, just, oh, here, just wait in my house for 4 hours, we'll be back. To like a guy you kind of barely know. I don't know, I think that's weird. Sounds good, but you have to tell me how the interview goes. I know he's going to do amazing. I will, and he will. See you in a few. But he's a good boy, though. I mean, I would not. I don't trust people. Like, I think that's maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's me, but I don't trust people enough like that. Like, I don't know, man. It is, to be honest. There we go. Someone agrees. At least show him to a movie collection. I mean, you could, like, turn on the TV and then open up Netflix or something, right? And just be like, watch whatever. Here, go watch, I don't know, watch Tales of Arcadia or something. Carl looks confused as I come out to the car alone.
Where's Raven?
I sit down and make a show of buckling my seatbelt. So I wanted to tell you this after the interview, so you didn't have more to stress out over.
What?
I pause as I back out, pretending to be distracted so I can gather my thoughts. Oh, I love pretending to be distracted. So, Leo wants us to meet at the lake.
The lake? The lake?
Yeah.
Why?
Closure, he says. Carl stays quiet as we drive through Echo when I swerve to avoid all of the potholes. As I'm merging onto the highway, he finally speaks up.
I think that's a good idea. Like, we've been sitting on this for how long? We should do it while we get the chance.
I nod my agreement. Yes. I just hope everyone else feels the same. We fall back into silence, and it stays that way for the remaining 20-minute drive. Okay, so it's a 20-minute drive to me. Wait, it takes like... Once you get on the highway, it's a 20-minute drive to Peyton. But it's like, yeah, we'll say it's a half hour. We'll say it's a half-hour drive. We'll round up. Carl gets more nervous the closer we get. I can see his knees bouncing out of the corner of my eye as he stares out the window. I reach out and put a paw on his shoulder as we pull into the parking lot of the print shop. You look awesome, and you're gonna do amazing! Carl starts taking deep breaths, staring out the windshield. Just be yourself. Everyone loves a relaxed employee.
I wish you'd let me have a smoke before we left.
Yeah, just go into an interview smelling like pot. Great idea. Carl giggles nervously, but otherwise doesn't move. Do you want me to go in with you? Carl shakes his head, quickly, unbuckling his seatbelt as he opens the car door. I was sweating bullets for a second. I'm going to admit that. Like reading that. Ooh, I felt it.
No, man, I'll be fine.
Okay, cool. I'll be waiting. I grin at him, but he just shuts the door and ambles up to the print shop. He pushes on the door, and when they don't move, he pushes harder, shaking the glass. I start to open my door to tell him to pull instead, but he seems to figure it out before I have to and disappears inside. Oh, Carl. Then I sit back and wait. I try to take a sip since not a sip, a nap. I was like, he's take a sip of what? You got some alcohol? I'll take a sip. Whatever. I got a glass of liquid refreshment next to me. It's gone a little flat now, but that's fine. I try to take a nap since I'd been up all night with Raven and Carl gaming. But the heat beating down through the window becomes too uncomfortable. I turn the AC back on, then shuffle through the station, but I only find twangy country and mariachi. I look at the time. 10:10 a.m. If the interview started on time, then he was probably almost done with it by now. I sort of want to go inside, but I know Carl wouldn't want me to. I settle back again and close my eyes, trying to get some relief from the failing AC. Then the door rattles and I hear some haphazard footsteps. Hoof steps, sorry. I open my eyes, but no one's there. I do catch some movement disappearing around the side of the store, and I lean around to get a better look. I wait, but Carl, at least I think it's Carl, doesn't come back from around the corner. Looking around, I slowly open my door. Carl? Nothing. Carl! I yell it, but he doesn't come out. Feeling some dread build up in my stomach, I get out of the car and slowly walk around the side of the building. It's an alley between the print shop and what I think is a laundromat. Nothing is in the alley except a few dumpsters and clumps of garbage. I step carefully around puddles covered in oil slick and wonder if maybe he just really wanted to smoke. Carl? Something shifts on the other side of one of the dumpsters, and I hear sniffling. Wordlessly, I walk around the dumpster to the other side. Carl is bent over, his back to me, paws on his knees. His whole body is shaking, and his breaths are ragged. Holy shit, Carl! I'm at his side instantly, rubbing his back. What happened? Are you alright? The stench of vomit hits my nose, and I don't need to look closely at what the puddle between Carl's hooves is. Carl makes sure to turn his face away from me, not saying a word. Shit. I dash back to the car and open the passenger door so I can get to the glove box. I pull out a few napkins before hurrying back to the Ram. It takes, he takes them from me wordlessly and starts wiping his mouth. The last time I'd seen Carl like this was just last year, when he'd had his panic attack at school. I didn't think he'd have that problem now. After all, the therapy and time away. I try to rub his back comfortingly in a clockwise motion like my mom would do for me. He's at least not hyperventilating. He has his horns pressed up against the wall, taking deep breaths as he wipes his face again.
Why do I suck at everything?
He says it quietly, between gasps, but I can make it out. No, Carl, you're fine. Let's just get you home. I start to pull his arm, but he yanks it from me violently.
Don't touch me!
I'm stunned into silence. I just stare at him, mouth open. He glances at me, and his eyes are red, and for once, it's not because of weed. Carl starts off toward the car on his own, spitting off. What, spitting? Spitting off to the side as he does. Carl, what happened? He whirls on me.
I fucked up, obviously. Any more fucking questions?
His voice breaks apart on the last sentence, and he turns away from me as his face starts to screw up. My stomach feels hollow as I watch Carl get into my car. I've never seen him like this. He immediately hunches forward, a head in his paws. I slowly walk up to the driver's side door, feeling like crying myself. I sit for a while, wanting to see if Carl is going to say anything. He does.
I'm sorry.
He blurts it out through his fingers. I look over at him, scared to say anything in case I say the wrong thing.
It was a disaster, man.
He takes in a deep, shuddered breath.
You could tell I wasn't into it right away. I was awkward as fuck.
He leans back and tugs at his shirt.
This shit, this isn't me. And they knew it, and it got me nervous. I've been nervous ever since I got my clothes, since I got the stupid trim.
At that moment, it feels as if I've been punched in the stomach. I'm just now remembering the conversation we had on Wednesday. I close my eyes for a moment, not wanting to believe I've done exactly what he said what he said I wasn't. What he liked me for not being. We sit in silence for a long, long time until Carl finally looks at me and smiles.
God damn it. We both knew this was going to happen, didn't we?
I don't know, man.
And fuck me very much for taking it out on you.
It is sort of my fault.
Nope. I'm the one that screwed up the interview.
Carl settles back into his seat.
Now, with that fuck up out of the way, on to the next one.
I force a smile. You sure you still want to go?
Hell no. But I don't think we have much of a choice.
I sigh, looking out the hazy horizon and the direction of where I know Echo is. Can't wait. So with that, I turn on the ignition and pull out of the parking lot, leaving the print shop and its alley far, far behind us. Surprised Flynn isn't here for this event? Well, Carl, told off Flynn at the beginning of the route, right? So, I assume Flynn is, upsetty. And I was like, oh, if he doesn't appreciate what I've done for him, then fuck him, I guess. I assume that's how Flynny Boy feels in this route. Leo, TJ, Flynn, and Jenna are all gathered around a picnic table. It's set out neatly on concrete in front of the rocky shore of the lake. None of this existed when we were kids. In fact, it didn't exist when I left. Echo is trying really hard to stay alive. I don't need to get out of the car to gauge the mood of my friends are in. Their shoulders slumped, faces turned away from each other. As I park, Leo's ears perk, and he turns to wave at us. I take a deep breath and turn to Carl. You ready?
Nope.
Nevertheless, he opens the door and steps out, and I do the same. The sun beats down on us, but being this close to the lake cools things down a bit. As we approach, I see Leo with his butt up against the edge of the table, while TJ sits next to him. Jenna sits next to TJ, while Flynn sits across from Jenna. When Flynn turns around, he immediately zeroes in on Carl.
What the hell happened to you? Drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Out of order, bud. No, I just put it in the appropriate descending order.
Flynn rolls his eyes, then looks at me.
Hey, fuckboy. Maybe you can talk some fucking sense into this idiot.
Leo's ears are flat, but he doesn't look at Flynn.
Glad you could make it.
Sure. Carl sits down next to Flynn, and I sit on Carl's other side, across from TJ. The silence that follows is possibly the most awkward one of the week. Flynn snickers.
See, this is stupid.
How about we let it happen naturally, Flynn? Instead of using every moment to take shots at people. Jenna's tone is icy. She hasn't even acknowledged me or Carl. TJ, meanwhile, keeps his head down, poking a sharp claw into the soft wood of the table. Flynn shrugs and starts to do his trademark "I don't give a fuck" leaning pose, but gives a start when he realizes there isn't any backing on the bench.
Well, we've been sitting here for the past 20 minutes, and nothing's happened. Maybe you want to start us off?
Flynn sighs.
Well, we could talk about how I never agreed to this shit. How Leo's a complete fucking idiot for forcing this to happen, and that I wonder what he thought this would accomplish anyway. Oh, that's a start, I guess.
Flynn sets his jaw.
Of course. Talk that would actually get us somewhere wouldn't be from me. And he's not talking.
The temperature seems to lower in the impossibly hot air, and I don't look at TJ to see how he reacts. Well, we can see, like us, the audience can. Look at his little face. He's so sad. Like, after a brief silence, Leo speaks up.
How about we start with you, Flynn?
Flynn looks at Leo, brows raised.
How do you feel about what happened?
I feel Flynn clench his jaw.
What?
His tone sends shivers down my spine, and I feel Carl tense up next to me. I look out across the lake, the shimmering reflection blinding me.
You never talked about it. Maybe it'll help.
The sweat pours down the back of my neck, building up under my arms. Even with the wind coming off the lake, it's way too hot.
By telling you how I fucking feel? How the fuck do you think I feel?
Flynn screams it, and TJ jumps in front of me.
You just gotta keep it buried your whole life.
I think about the time I used to come down to this spot every day and skip rocks with Jenna and TJ.
So, this is how you plan to fucking get over this? By fucking making fun of me? I'm not making fun of you. I'm trying to help you. Taunting someone who's felt like shit for a decade is a pretty weird way of helping.
Please, guys!
Don't you fucking talk right now.
Don't you dare talk to him like that. We all went through this.
Calm down, Flynn.
The table shakes as Flynn slams his fist down onto the wood, snarling, and stands up.
Tell me to calm down one more fucking...
Just shut the hell up. I stand up. Everyone turns to look at me, including Flynn. I don't say anything. Instead, I just strip off my shirt. Oh.
The hell are you doing?
I don't answer him. Instead, I take off my belt and slide off my pants so that I'm only in my boxers. Without a word, I head to the lake. It's about 100 yards from the table to the lake, and while most of the way there is sand, a good stretch of it is pointy rocks. I make my way carefully over this section, remembering the numerous cuts I'd gotten as a kid. I don't look down until I'm right at the water's edge, and when I do, I see Leo following me, in the process of taking his own shirt off. It starts stripping nude. Oh god, it do feel that way. And I wouldn't mind. The rest of them are still sitting at the table, but I don't care because this is really just for me. I step into the water and sigh at how cool it is before I wade out further. Once I'm waist deep, I dive under the water and pop up several feet further away from the shore. I'm neck deep at this point, and when I look back, I can see Carl now standing at the lake's edge, paws deep in his pockets. Behind him, Jenna is helping TJ across the rocks. Only Flynn remains behind at the table, watching us all. Leo's up to his chest at this point, and I swim in a circle around him before diving under, then popping up right in front of him.
Gah! Sneaky otter.
He splashes water in my face, and I cough. Don't be that way. I swim around him some more and laugh at how he flounders after me. He was always a terrible swimmer. I dive under the water again and swim up towards the shore, popping up about 10 feet away from Carl.
Having fun?
He smiles, looking at a lot more relaxed than he has all day, probably because we just avoided a situation that could have gotten really ugly. To my left, Jenna and TJ are sitting on the boulder in the shallows, TJ's slacks rolled up to his knees. Him and Jenna seem to be talking, so I decide not to play the same trick on them as I did with Leo. Flynn, meanwhile, is standing up now, arms folded. For the next a little while, I swim around, occasionally popping up in front of Carl or Leo, sometimes splashing them with my tail. There's a freeing feeling about finally swimming in this lake again and having so much space. Flynn, after a good 20 minutes, came out to the shore. He leans against an old familiar boulder, watching us. There's no way for me to know how they're all feeling, if it's liberating, like it is for me. Flynn is right, in a way. We can't just talk about it because there's nothing to really say. What happened happened, and no amount of talking can fix it. What we can do, or what I can do at least, is choose to move past it. And that's what I'm doing now. I just hope that's what they're feeling too. Eventually, I run out of the exhilarating energy that had so consumed me, and instead drift to the bottom of the shores. I lay on my back against the sand, staring up at the murky glow of the sun. I feel my eyelids get heavy, and I stretch out against the soft lake bed. It is, of course, a bad idea to fall asleep underwater. If that were to happen, though, I'd probably just try to breathe, get a nose full of water, and immediately wake up. Still, I decide that it's best to avoid that, if I can, and force myself to open my eyes and swim to the surface. Except, I can't. I'm frozen. Every nerve in my body's on fire, and I struggle not to panic, to not start trying to breathe because that's all my body wants to do. I close my eyes, will myself to be calm. Sleep paralysis usually only lasts about a minute at most for me. I can hold my breath for 8, and I've been under for... God, I have no idea. It feels like it's been a while. My chest is already starting to burn, and that usually means it's been at least 6 minutes. And this is starting to last a long time. Despite my efforts, panic starts to set in, and it sets in quick. I start jerking my body around, trying to get something, anything to move. I don't understand why I'm not floating to the surface. I'm not trying to stay underwater. The seconds turn into minutes, and now my lungs are really burning. Something has been holding me down. Maybe some kind of vegetation. The water begins to glow red, as if blood has spread across the surface above me. I tug and pull, praying that this is all a dream, that I'm back in Carl's room, and that at any moment I'll wake up. You thought it would be this easy? That's a good one. I try to turn my head towards the voice, which is right in my ear, even though I'm underwater. Things go silent again. At least at this point, I start to contemplate that I might actually die. I can't get my body to move. None of my friends know where I'm at, and now I'm almost out of air. Bubbles flow past my lips, and my lungs finally give out, and blackness starts to crowd in my vision. Huh? Eh? What are we doing? What are we doing, game? Eh? Do I have to click button? There we go. He's waking up! My eyes open, slowly, painfully, and I'm face to face with a ram, his muzzle wet with tears.
Oh my god, he is! Give him room.
I feel some rough paws supporting my back, turning me to my side.
Can you breathe, Chase?
Oh, he says Chase. Oh, I would have expected him to say Chula. Leo's voice is ragged next to my ear. No, I'm fine. I sit up quickly, and a wave of dizziness threatens to topple me over again. I feel movement behind me, out of my field of vision.
No. I can't believe this. I can't fucking believe this.
Flynn's voice is torn and ragged. I can barely recognize it. Calm down, Flynn.
No. We're forced to come here, and then this shit happens.
Guys, I need to go.
TJ, Flynn, get over here.
I feel Leo's support leave me. Carl is still crouched down in front of me, though.
Oh my god, dude, what happened?
Carl's gasping, like he's the one that was just underwater. I don't know. Carl rubs my back as I rest my head in my paws. No, excuse me. Vaguely, I can hear more yelling behind me, and Carl looks up too.
No, you don't. Leo, help!
Despite my aching head, I turn around and see Flynn chasing TJ, grabbing him and throwing him down onto the rocks. Oh, violence on TJ. Flynn doesn't get any further, though, because Leo tackles him with such force that they fly a good 5 feet before smashing down into the rocks and sand. Flynn is just like you for oh my god. Oh my god. Leo wraps an arm around Flynn's neck. Oh. And yanks up hard. Oh.
Jesus.
Carl stands up and starts gasping again. I try to, but I fall back down on my ass. Carl reaches down to help me up.
Shit, you're not okay.
Carl steadies me, and I'm distracted with trying to see what happened. Leo's leaning down with his muzzle right up against Flynn's head. Oh. Yelling at him. Oh. Meanwhile, Jenna's crouched over TJ. Carl starts to breathe heavily again, his wheezing picking up speed. I look over at him, and his eyes are glazed, as if he's watching everything from afar. Carl, what's wrong? I don't want to have another panic attack. I know I should probably stay and try to help, but I feel so fucked up right now. Besides, I don't think it will help if Carl has a breakdown. I grab his arm. Let's get out of here, Carl. He looks at the scene a while longer, then turns away. Without another word, we make our way back to the car. I get in, barely noticing that I'm drenching the seat. Looking through the windshield, I see that my friends are still in the same position that we left them. Except Jenna. She watches us as we pull out and keeps watching us until we're out of sight. Just Jenna things, I guess. Just Jenna things. Carl stays in his glazed state as we make the short drive back to his house. I can't give him much of my attention, though. I'm more preoccupied with the fact that something terrible just happened. Not only to me, but the entire group. Maybe this is a dream. Everything feels so surreal right now, like I'm watching all of this happen from 100 miles away. I do like how you can see the hysteria kind of take over in this route, you know. You don't entirely, like, you gradually see everyone get hit by it in the other routes, but it's just like bam. We here, baby. It's Saturday, like in this route, right? And you really don't see it in Leo's route, which I do like. I do like. That's kind of fun in Leo's route to me. Everything feels so surreal right now, like I've watched all of this happen from 100 miles away.
I can't. I don't know.
I look over at Carl, but his expression is still glassy. He looks exactly like how I'm feeling. What's wrong, Carl?
I don't know.
You don't. I'm cut off as a large coyote suddenly runs onto the street. But she's a good distance down the road, so there's no danger of me hitting her. I watch as she tears out into the sagebrush, zigzagging about, arms flinging out in all directions. Carl and I both watch her as we pass, silent. Something's happening in this town. To all of us. Once we get into the house, Carl heads straight for the stairs. Carl! You guys back? How'd it go? Bless his soul. Bless his soul. Raven's just sitting there watching, like, I don't know, Bluey on Disney Plus or some shit. And just, we walk, is none the wiser to bad things happening into the world, right? Raven's voice calls from upstairs. Ray, something's wrong. How many nicknames are there for Raven? Chase has called him Raven, Rave, Ray. Like, what do we got? Are we gonna start calling him Ven? Are we gonna like do more? How many different ways can we nickname this lad? What's wrong? I don't answer as I walk to the stairs. Carl just disappeared down. Once I get there, he's already gone. I make my way down the stairs, and it's at this point that my headache starts to make a comeback. Carl? He's not in the basement either, but I can see that the yellow light's glowing from the crawl space. Something I don't know what it is, but something feels incredibly wrong right now. Buzzing fills my head. The ground feels unsteady, as if I'm walking on sand. Okay. Once I find Carl, we're both going to the hospital. I stumble down into the crawl space, and again, Carl's not there. I'm greeted to a familiar row of tubs, but a stack of them has been pulled away from the wall. Carl! Carl, what? Is this track supposed to be playing? This, like, more upbeat track? Is that that's supposed to be happening? I feel like this shouldn't be here, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I fall silent because ahead of me is a hole. About 3 feet high and 2 feet wide. What the hell? Carl? A plastic covers the tarp around it, as if the wall had been bashed violently to create the hole. Did Carl go through it? Getting on my paws and knees, I look into it, but the darkness is inky and so black, I swear I can touch it. Here, let's test that. Let's test this real quick. Let's put that there, right? For real. We'll go to the main menu. Yes. I guess this track is just supposed to be playing here. As I crawl forward, my mind gives a violent jolt, and I arch my head back, teeth bared as my face spasms. And then I fall. And it feels like I fall forever. I hope this plays for the entire rest of the game. No, come back. Joyous track, you can't do this to me. No. I wanted you to loop for the game. Come on. Wind blows pleasantly through my fur, seeping underneath and cooling my sweating skin. The smells of the desert, sagebrush, and dirt overwhelm my senses. Everything is black around me, and there are a million stars above me. I hear the smattering of small feet are running circles around my body, a snuffling of my nose up against my sides and neck. Mixed into the sounds of the wilder words, languages I don't understand, chanting and singing, the sounds of dancing. Then another language. I hear a word or two that I learned from Leo years ago. And then my own language. Calm down. Just simmer down there. No need to be like that. And above it all is a maniacal cackling, one that builds and fades before choking off into a sob. The first feeling I have is one of confusion. I feel stiff and cold, and I'm lying back on something hard. I expect to see stars above me when I open my eyes, but instead all I see is blackness. A panic starts to well up inside me. My breathing quickens, and though it's hard and painful, I manage to pull myself up into a sitting position. That's when I see a gentle glow coming from an opening about 30 feet away from me. Where am I? The last thing I remember was the lake. Wait, no, Carl's house is the last thing I remember. We went back to his house after the lake, and I abandoned Raven. Did I fall asleep in the house somewhere? I feel around on the floor with my hands and can feel wood underneath me. It creaks as I shift around. Carl? My voice comes out hard and crackly. I have to lick my lips several times to keep them from sticking together. I call out again, but more softly this time because now I'm starting to wonder if someone else brought me here. When I don't hear anything, I start to crawl forward towards the light. My head throbs a little, and there's a coppery taste in my mouth. Probing my tongue around, I taste the sour of bites along my cheeks. I start to run through a list of things that could have happened. I was in Carl's basement, and I just sort of seized up. Did something hit me over the head? I stop crawling and start moving my hands around my body and over my head. No signs of any injuries. Not yet. Aside from the cheek bites, it's really just the inside of my head that's hurt. While I do this, a lucidity starts to return in waves as if a dam had broken all of my senses and falling back into place. At the same time, the panic starts to return as I realize how much this doesn't make sense. Excuse me. Someone has had to have brought me here, however, wherever here is. I start crawling again, trying to keep my panic under control. I'm almost in the glow, but it's weird because it's coming from the ground. As I get closer, I hear a soft brushing behind my head. I tense and look over my shoulder. I'm greeted by the sight of inky blackness. It's so dark that it almost feels alive, and I get the impression of a giant mouth opening up in front of my face. The imagery gives me a jolt, and I lunge forward, deciding to get up on my feet so I can move fast. Sorry. And then I'm falling, but not for long. My senses are full of light now, and I throw my hands forward to catch myself. But I keep falling, and then split second before I hit, I realize there's a ladder. I instinctively grab at it, but my head hits the rungs first, and I slip forward before landing on my feet. Oh, I love hearing that snap. Oh, what rush, you know? It happens on weak ankles, though, and my right foot gives out and my ankles roll. I hear a series of pops and the rest of my body hits the floor. Chase hurts his leg in this route. It's a number. It's a number for sure. Yeah. This place looks nice. It looks nice. Reminds me of some places. I lay there for a moment, the sudden noise and violence of the fall stunning me. Josh, you gotta dab every time he trips? Oh my god. No, I have to remap a button if I want to do that. Because A takes me, like, hitting the A key with a Ren'Py game open takes me to, like, a console menu or something. And I have bound my neutral expression to the A button, you know. So, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that here. Not now. Not now. Maybe at some point in history we will. In my stupor, I feel a cold spiderweb of electricity pulse from my ankle, and that's what spurs me to move. I pull myself into a sitting position to clutch at it. Fuck! The pain isn't really bad, but something is definitely wrong, and I'm not sure if I can just walk it off. That's when I notice my surroundings. A long hall stretching out to either side of me. Excuse me, lit by decorative chandeliers. Looking up, I see that I've fallen down a drop-down ladder from a small square in the ceiling. What the hell? I look back down at my ankle. I wiggle it around and immediately feel another pulse of electricity that feels much more painful this time around. I grit my teeth as I spread my hands out against the wall behind me, pushing myself up slowly, making sure not to put any weight on my injured ankle. Time to hop around on one foot! As I'm doing this, I hear a soft clopping sound coming from my right. At the end of the hall, it looks like it takes a sharp right, and it sounds like the noises are coming from that turn. My throat tightens, and I press myself harder up against the wall. I see a shadow slide up the carpet at the end of the hallway, and I hold my breath. The shadow stops too, and I get the feeling that whatever it is might be holding its own breath. Finally, the tension gets to me, and I clear my throat nervously. Carl?
Chase?
Carl! I let out a gasp of relief and almost sagged down to the wall. More clopping and footsteps as Carl appears around the corner. His eyes are wide and his nostrils flare. He stumbles up to me, his hands clasped around, together nervously.
Holy shit, dude. It's so fucking good to see you.
I press up harder against the wall, taking more weight off of my foot. What the hell is going on?
Oh, I don't know. I just woke up. You okay?
He looks at me, then down at my foot.
Are you hurt?
I gesture up to the ladder. I fell down that thing. Carl looks up at the ladder and the dark hole it leads up to.
What were you doing up there?
I don't know. I just woke up in the dark and tried to crawl out.
Shit.
Carl bends down to look at my ankle, which is clearly starting to swell. Tisk tisk.
Can you walk?
I think so. Kind of. He stands back and looks around.
Chase, I don't know what's going on. I just woke up in a bedroom up the hall like 20 minutes ago.
Is this not part of your house? Carl lets out a breathy and incredulous laugh.
No, definitely not. I was trying to find a window, but I can't.
Maybe we're in a basement or something. The last thing I remember is your crawl space.
Why would there be an attic in the basement?
Well, if like a house sinks and you build a new house on top of the foundation of the old one, maybe you could dig through a basement into an attic, right? That makes sense. That sounds like a good horror movie setting. I look back up at the dark hole in the ceiling. Maybe it's not an attic.
Chase, I'm freaking out.
And it shows too. His breathing is picking up, his wide nostrils flaring again. I reach out and put a hand on his shoulder, giving some reassuring squeezing. No, it's okay. Maybe we got really high or drunk or something. What's the last thing you remember? Carl starts clicking his fingers together again, looking away up the hall.
The lake.
Yeah, I remember we went back to your house, then down the basement, and then... Carl frowns.
I don't remember.
I watch him carefully. But then I remember looking behind the plastic bins, and there was this... Help! We both jump at the scream. Comes from right down the hall. Carl and I both look at each other, wide-eyed.
What the hell?
Hello? Is someone out there?
That sounds like Raven.
Carl starts to hyperventilate. Wait, not hyperventilate. Hesitantly. Those are very different words. But I assumed he would be panicking. So I just assumed when I saw an H, you know. I walk up the hallway and I move to follow and immediately regret it as I put weight on my ankle. It's completely stiff now and pain shoots up my shin like lightning. My gasping causes Carl to turn around in confusion. Then his eyes light up when he sees my leg.
Oh shit! Here!
He reaches out and wraps an arm around it, and I wrap an arm around his neck. He's sturdy and strong, easy to lean against, and I sigh with relief as I take the weight off my ankle.
Somebody!
We hobble our way down the hall, following the sound of Raven's panicked voice. We take a left at the end of the hall and are confronted with an almost identical hallway to the last. That's when I start to smell smoke. Do you smell that?
What's that smell? It's blood.
Carl puts his nose up.
Something burning.
Help me!
I almost jump again as the sound comes from right to our left, the only door on our left side of the hallway. Our left side? So it turns to the left? I thought they turned to the right. I thought all of the... I don't know. I'm already lost in this square hallway. We both look at the door for a moment, Carl's ears perking straight up. Well, I don't remember that. That was probably there originally, and it's just been a while since I've played this game with sound. And we both jump again as the door shakes from several heavy bashes that rattle the frame.
Help!
The cry is mournful, like he's given up.
Raven?
The shaking and pounding stops.
Carl! Carl?
The voice instantly turns hopeful, and the voice grows muffled, as if Raven is pressing his muzzle right up against the door.
I'm stuck. The door won't open, and there's a fire.
What?
Chase, there's something burning on the stove, or something. I can't see it.
Me and Carl look at each other in bewilderment.
Guys, it's getting real smoky in here. I can't really see anything.
He gives a cough, sorry.
And it's really hard to breathe.
All right, hold on a sec, man. We'll get you out.
Carl shifts me to the wall so I can lean against it, then tries the knob. The knob barely turns, clearly locked.
Shit.
Yeah, it's locked. It's getting real hot in here.
Hold on.
Carl shoves his shoulder up against the door. It gives a few creaks, but otherwise stays solid.
Help me!
His plaintive whimpers is barely audible through the thick wood. What kind of lock is it? Maybe we could pick at it. Carl studies the knob.
I don't think a paperclip is going to work.
I lean in to look for myself, and it's an old-fashioned keyhole. The hell?
Raven, can't you unlock it from that side?
No, there's nothing there. Guys, I can't breathe.
His voice is getting desperate again. There's no way out. No other door in there? Raven doesn't answer, and Carl and I both wait a good 10 seconds. Raven?
Ah!
We both jump for a third time before Carl presses his face up against the door.
Raven! Raven! What happened?
For a few seconds, all we hear is coughs. Then Raven Raven's voice is lower, up against the bottom of the door as he's laying down.
Something in the smoke. Help! What? What's in the smoke?
My mind flashes back to what I heard in the attic.
Something. I can't see. Open the door!
Fuck. Alright, man. Stand back.
I don't know if he's talking to me or Raven, but I take a step back anyway. Carl takes a few steps back, and then throws his body forward, smashing up against the door. Okay. It shudders a little bit, and I hear a crack or two, but otherwise there's no change. Okay. He tries it again with the same result. Carl, I don't think that's gonna work. Carl doesn't say anything, instead backing up against his backing up until his back touches against the wall. He takes a deep breath, then charges forward, his head down this time. Instinctively, I close my eyes, imagining Carl snapping his neck right in front of me. Oh, yeah, okay. The impact is much louder this time, and it's accompanied by a crunch. When I open my eyes, it's not Carl's neck that's broken, but rather the wooden door. Carl's head has completely bursted through the door, so that his head is poking into the other side. I stare, expecting to see the tendrils of black smoke snaking out of the broken door, but there's nothing. Carl sets his hands on either side of the door, apparently taking a look around.
Raven, you okay?
I look up to Carl's side to put a hand on his back. Carl, what is it? Is there a fire? Carl braces himself up against the door before pushing back, yanking his head out of the opening. He comes up with a bunch of wooden splinters, clinging to his head fur and beard and sweating. Wait, and what? And sweatshirt? Beard and sweatshirt. Okay.
Nothing.
I duck down and look through the opening as well, taking care to keep watch of my injured foot. Oh, look at that. It's a little room. I'm greeted the sight of a brightly lit dining room and kitchen, but it's clear, no smoke in sight.
It was completely black in here a second ago.
I look down at the trembling voice of Raven below me and see the husky curled up, his head poking up from his fetal position.
Hey, Jace.
Hey. Hi.
I don't know what happened. There was smoke everywhere. It's like when you opened the door and it all got sucked out.
I sniff, and now I can't even get a whiff of the smoke, aside from the residual taste I still have of it on the back of my throat. I hear a click next to my head and look over to see the doorknob twist. I pull my head out of the hole, and Carl pulls the door open.
Are you kidding me? It was locked, right?
It was definitely locked. Raven gets up, brushing shaky hands down his shirt. Okay.
You okay, man?
Yeah. I just thought I was going to die for a second.
I watch as Raven struggles to keep his ears perked. What happened? Raven takes a deep breath.
I don't know. I just woke up in here and smoke just started coming out from the stove or oven or something.
You said you saw something.
Yeah, something in the smoke. It looked like arms or something.
Carl and I look at each other.
But it might have been just the smoke.
I look around the room, scanning it for any sign of the black smoke that Raven was so adamant about having seen. I don't think he was just seeing things, because I'm pretty sure I hadn't imagined the smell.
I promise I'm not lying. It's just what I saw.
I think the bigger issue here is that we're here at all. I mean, where the hell is here? I spread my hands out, giving an incredulous laugh.
I thought maybe it was just another part of your house.
Raven looks at Carl.
I mean, I went downstairs after you guys and found this hole. Then everything went dark.
Carl looks down. Same here. I followed Carl. We both look at Carl, but he doesn't say anything, instead just moves past Raven into the large kitchen next to the dining room. I hobble after him, then reach out to lean against the counter. I try to gather my thoughts. Everything still feels dreamlike, surreal, and my thoughts are sluggish. Carl, do you have any idea what happened? I mean, that hole. Did you go down there? Did you go there too? I can just enter the hole, you know? This hole, it was made for me. Carl sets his hands on his hips, eyes wandering around the room.
No, honestly, I can't remember anything that happened after the lake, man.
Raven casts a sidelong look at me before moving next to Carl.
Well, maybe it will... Wait, what is this? Maybe it will just take you a second before you can remember. I was really confused when I woke up here. I was curled up over there on that counter.
Raven points to the marble top counter under a row of over a dozen pans hanging from a fixture attached to the ceiling. We stand there in silence as I imagine we individually absorb the situation we're in. Carl, are you sure this isn't some extension of your house? Maybe something that leads out of the crawl space? The ram laughs, but it definitely isn't genuine.
Dude, I think I'd know if this was part of my house. Unless my parents have been building this secret kitchen underground for who knows how long.
I glance at the lighting, which is definitely electric, then over at what looks like an electric stove. While everything sort of looks old-fashioned, there was a mixture of modernity to it as well. Where else could we be? Raven and I remember going to the crawl space, then losing consciousness after we found that hole, which is where you went, Carl. Carl finally does turn to me at that point, his brow furrowed.
Do you think I had something to do with this?
Even though I was implying that he might know more, Carl's sudden jump to being defensive catches me by surprise. No, I just wonder if you might have any ideas since it's your house, you know? Carl laughs again. I'm struck by the fullness of it. Usually when Carl laughs, it was crackly and half-hearted, and now it's loud and a little abrasive.
I think I just waited in the shadows and drugged you all up with acid or some shit.
I don't respond, just watching Carl as he stares back at me, breathing hard. Raven coughs loudly.
Hey guys, let's calm down. You know, I'm kind of hungry. Why don't we make some food?
That seems to break Carl out of his stare down with me as he looks over at Raven and huffs out one of his more characteristic chuckles.
Really, Raven?
Yeah, that always makes me feel better.
Raven starts opening cupboards, but each one is empty. Carl turns back to me, frowning.
Sorry, Chase. I'm just fucking freaked out, too. Oh, thing is, I don't think we're in my house anymore.
He chuckles again.
I mean, are we even an echo? What time is it anyway?
I reach into my pocket to check my phone, and that's when I remember I have a fucking phone! I almost jump with the realization and shove a hand into my pocket to pull it out. Why didn't I think of that before?
What?
Phone! I pull it out suddenly. Oh, is that a more modern? That's like the newer expression for Chase, right? Like in the phone? Huh. I guess they did change that up. I pull out excitedly and hit the button to turn the screen on. And am met with a black screen. My phone's dead. Lit. Are you kidding me? I hold the power button down, but nothing happens. I look up to see Raven and Carl getting similar results. Raven shaking his as if that's going to help. It does sometimes. Karate chop, you know. Turn on the flashlight. If it doesn't do anything, you know it's really dead. Carl shakes his head.
Oh, were we out that long? This is crazy.
I press a hand to my face for a moment, the idea that this could still be some sort of dream coming to mind. I remember after taking an overnight job when I was a freshman and how that had fucked up my sleeping schedule. But that in turn gave me all kinds of fucked up realistic dreams. Sleep paralysis plagued me to the ends of my wits, and I remember one time I thought I'd never be able to get up. I was stuck in bed, but each time I sat up and thought it was over, I'd end up sort of waking up again, still lying down, stuck in my paralysis. Dreams within dreams within dreams. No food, either. And my scattered thoughts collect together long enough for me to decide on the next course of action we should take. Alright, this is stupid. We should go out and look around. We'll find the way out eventually.
Yeah. We need to do that. I looked around a little, but didn't find anything.
I grip the counter a little more tightly as I feel a slight wave of dizziness come over me, making everything feel less real. But the pain that shoots up my ankle is very real, and just a glance down at the ever-growing swelling confirms it. The suspicion that we'd somehow been drugged grows, but I don't want to upset Carl again, so I don't mention it.
Okay, yeah. Let's just stick together and go. We'll find the way out.
Ah, I am hungry. We can eat when we get out. There's no food here anyway. I turn again, even though I do it as lightly as possible. The moment I set my right foot down feels 100 needles pressed into my ankles. Oh, fuck! Carl's at my side instantly, reaching out a hand to steady me.
Dude, you alright?
What happened? I lean all my weight on the counter at that point, just letting my foot dangle as I hold it off the ground and is painful.
He fell down a ladder and landed on his foot wrong.
What? Reconnect? Okay. Alright. I say it through gritted teeth. The pain is actually making me sweat, and I'm realizing that I might have done more than just sprained it. I don't think I can walk like this. How did you fall down a ladder? That's what I'm asking. Raven.
He woke up in an attic here.
Carl hunches down in front of me. My stupefied brain thinks up a butt sex joke, but I manage to keep it canned. You sure? I could just lean against you.
That'll take too long. Besides, it looks like you can't walk at all right now.
Hesitantly, I let go of the counter and let myself sort of fall onto the ram's back. He's sturdy and barely budges as I lean all my weight on him. Carl reaches back with both hands and hinges my legs off the ground as he stands, and I feel all the muscles on his back flex as he does. Damn, Carl, you work out? Carl grunts.
A little bit.
I lean my head to the side to keep from knocking my nose against his horns. It's a smart move, because just then Carl nods his head in Raven's direction.
Hey, I know this is kind of fucked up, but maybe you grab a kitchen knife?
Okay. Raven raises a brow at Carl. Why? I immediately see what Carl's getting at. We have no idea where we are or who put us here. Might be safe to be ready to defend ourselves, you know.
And you said you saw something in that smoke.
Raven's eyes widen, but he reaches out slowly, pull a knife from a silver-looking knife block. The husky frowns at the shing sound it makes. His ears down and elbows in. It's clear he's never used anything as a weapon before. But I can't blame him, neither have I. I don't know if I should be the one to do it, though.
Well, you're not strong enough to hold Chase, so I've got my hands tied.
He looks back at me.
If anything happens, though, I'll have to drop you and help him out. Okay, man?
I chuckle softly. Yeah, no problem. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. And with that, with the shaky husky in the lead, we set off and back into the hallway. All right. I think I'll end it here. It's maybe not the most optimal place to leave off in Carl's route, I know. But I'm a little tired. So you know, 2 hours of reading. You know how it is. We'll continue. We'll continue later. I assume it will take about 2 streams to finish Carl's route. Because fuck, it's so long from here. I feel like it's so long to get through the rest of his route. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out later. But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.